What's up, guys? What you just heard was all done in Battery 4, and I'm going to teach you guys how to do it. And you don't need much to do it. All you'll need is Battery 4, Camel Crush, which is a free plugin, so don't even sweat that. And I think I use WoW, which is quite a shocker. And I might do a review on WoW 2. They made a new version of it, and I'm going to get it pretty soon, or maybe not. Whatever. So let's hear that again, so you know what you're getting into. So yeah, this was all done in the same kit inside of Battery 4, and Battery 4 is extremely powerful. People, I don't know why they don't use it that often, but it's really great. So the only thing that isn't, I know I just said that everything was done in Battery 4, but this crash here is a sample. So we're just gonna turn that off and ignore it. Everything else was done in Battery 4. So let me take you inside a Battery so you can go ahead and do this along with me. So I think I went to Digital Kits and I went to the Slam Kit. Let me see. Yep, so I used the Slam Kit. And for this one, this is my distorted kick. So all I did was I used the one that's on the C2 note, which would probably be this kick, so kick slam 3, which is a nice kick, and I didn't do anything to it here. Wait, let me see. Let me make sure. I might do like a plugin overview or a review of Battery 4, but I have to kind of speed through it right now because it's going to be a long video. So I just played that kick by itself. Let me play that. And all I did was I added on a little bit of a transient master, which is another of my favorite plugins from the Complete 9. Yeah, Complete 9 upgrade. If you have Complete 8, you can upgrade for $150 to Complete 9, or guess you'll find your own way of getting these plugins, but this is a really good one. So just a little bit of attack and sustain added, and that's pretty much it. That's kind of how I like to use this on kick drums. And with Camel Crusher, not much is going on. I just reduced the compression to like halfway. The distortion is kind of a little bit above halfway. This is kind of at the second dot. And for the master, I just brought the mix halfway, and the volume is pretty much where it's at, and no filter. And I just, every time I use this, I don't use the presets. I kind of just open it up and then play around with the parameters right away, so you don't have to worry about that. And without it, this is what it sounds like. And I made it sound like that big room distort kick just with the Camel Crusher. And I've started using this for my tutorials because I do this usually with Homicide, another good plugin for this, but since Camel Crusher is free and it's available for Mac and PC, I figure it's more available to people, so that's what I'm starting to use for that. And for my EQ, hold on, let me plug in my charger real quick. I don't know why I do my tutorials on my laptop. I have an iMac right here and I don't use it for my tutorials. I'm pretty dumb. Anyway, so for my EQ, I just boosted around the 250 range by like 3 dB or almost at 4 dB. And I kind of just cut the rest of it at 5K, around there, almost 6K, I think. Yeah. So that's my first kick. My second kick, which is my layer to that, is what I would call my clean kick. So inside a Battery, that's kick slam 1. And I didn't do anything. I didn't use the master or whatever, because yeah, I knew I was going to be using only Battery 4 for all this, so I didn't want to get too crazy within Battery 4 because I didn't want to strain my CPU. I'm going to bounce these all to audio real soon, maybe even at the end of this video, just to save some CPU. But right now it's all good. And for my hi-hat, oh wait, so for this kick, I only did the same thing with the transient master. I just copy and pasted that. And for my EQ, I just cut the 1K area by like 6 dB. You can even go as far as 9 dB if you want. And I kind of gave it a nice like high pass right here at 53, and a low pass around 13K, just to sort of clean up my high end, because I know later on it's going to be messy. So, oh no, wait, is that? Okay, that's weird. I have the same EQ on my kick drum and my hi-hat. That's pretty bad. I probably didn't even use it, so let's get rid of that. And same for the transient master. I kind of did the same thing, but you can tweak that to your taste. I like to have the hi-hats and the kick kind of have the same transient parameters. So within battery 4, this is the close hi-hat 3, and I didn't do anything to it at all. I know it seems kind of funny. I didn't do anything actually within battery 4 except select my plugins, but you can tune each hit within battery 4 with this knob right here, so you can tune it precisely to the note you want it to if you're tuning your drums. If you don't know how to tune your drums, you could do it like that and just use a analyzer, the one called Spectrum inside of, well, Spectrum Analyzer, and then as you can see down here, it gives you the notes, so you look for the highest peak, and that's how you tune drums. I have a video on that if you want to look at that. And that's pretty much it for that hi-hat. Then I have like this snare drum. Well, kind of like the big room reverby type snare hits. So as you can see, I'm using snare drum 4, 2, 6, and the clap. So I'm using these 4, and I don't know if and I kind of just mix them right here with the level within inside of battery 4. So this one's a little lower, this one's at 0, so you know, I brought some of them up and down. And the way I used it was I have these two, which would probably be like 4 and 2 or whatever. They're layered together, and this one is just a different layer. So when they play, it sounds kind of more like a tom roll or something like that, but it's all with snares. So, so you kind of get that thing, and it plays again over here by itself, just these two. And let's see, now this is the part you probably want to hear. It's this sound. So let me make a little loop of this. So there's a lot going on in this one, but it's actually very simple and minimalistic. So I'm just using Impact Slam 1, and I have one tuned up 27 steps, so that becomes a G. I think that becomes a let me see, let me figure this out real quick. Where's my master? God damn, this sucks using this little laptop screen for all these stuff. So I tuned that hit into a G2, and then I have a lower one playing. So I pretty much held down Option and I dragged it over to another cell, and I so this one's tuned up 27 steps just to match the key of this song, and this one is at 15 steps, so it's pretty much an octave down from the other one, so that's a G1, and this one up here plays a G2. So I've kind of layered them together like that, and I didn't do anything with the envelopes or anything, no reverbs, none of that. So what it sounds like is, actually, let me go back to this one that I just made, and let me just, so that's what that sounds like without all the tuning I added to it. So it's just like a little like hi-hat thingy. And this tuned up sounds, well, it sounds like hi-hats right now. Oh, it's because of the velocity. I'm using my trackpad on this MacBook and it's not getting the velocity right. So let me hit it really hard. So that's at like a full velocity. And then tuned up. So it's very cool. Actually, let me check the velocity on that. Yeah, see, it's all the way at like 127 or 118. I'm sure it'd sound better at 127. I'll bring those up later. Actually, let me do that now. So I'll just press Command A and I'll hold, what was it, Command. And I can lower the velocity or bring it up. So hold Command and drag up and down, and that affects your velocity. Cool, and that's, I do this a lot to save time, where I group an EQ and a compressor together. So it's just a sidechain compressor and pretty much a high pass. So it's pretty much just cutting everything beneath 240. So so I can clean up the low end of my songs. And I have my sidechain, which is gain audio signal from the distorted kick, and then I, of course, tweak each each instrument that I lay this on differently, so that the sidechain is right for that song, for that sound. I of course do not copy and paste my sidechain settings onto everything. That would sound bad. So it's just a quick attack, kind of quick release. Actually, that is a quick release, and a 2.5 ratio on the F1 model and on peak. And of course I added a little bit of Camel Crush and Wow. So without those, that's what you should have without all this. And then when you add the Camel Crush, so the tube is kind of around here. This is right around here. Compression is kind of like a little bit beneath halfway. And the master mix is kind of like right here. So take a second to observe that. And of course, now with the wow, I'm using my preset that I made a while ago. So it's band reject, it's overdrive at 100%, the cutoff is right here, reso is at like 50, mix is down here, nothing's going on with the modulators, and master is all the way up. And for reverb, I just turned off the spin and chorus, and I just brought my high cut on. So I brought it down to like 4K, and I started my low cut at 238 around there, and I have some pre-delay at 46. And the size is at 122. Decay time is at 264, and dry wet is at 48%. And I left the diffusion network right where it was, so that the reverb would add this nice. And some people don't use the high cut and low cut. I think you should use that to EQ. It's kind of like your EQ, so you're just selecting the frequencies or the range that you want to be in the reverb tail, pretty much. So without it, it's like, that sounds cool, but it could get really messy. And I actually do prefer this. I think that's more of the style anyway of this genre of big room and stuff, to have like these reverbs that are just only reverbing like some mid-range. I think that's the style to go for nowadays, because I think just the whole plain spectrum of every frequency being reverbed, I think that's way out of style now. I can't think of anyone that would want that over this. And of course, this is just a little auto filter that I use to automate the frequency. So when it plays here, it's pretty much just I guess it's just sort of low passing everything, so that the snare hit can play without the reverbs overlapping onto it. So as you can see, and that's that. And for the block sound, I know everyone's looking for these block sounds. I know how to make these in massive silent, FM8, operator with samples. This is a really simple sound to get, but of course samples are the easiest way, and in Battery 4 there's a really good sample of this. So it's Wood Slam, and I used 2 of them. So pretty much what I did with the other sound that I just did, I have one tuned up 6 steps, so it's a G, and then I have another tuned negative 6 steps for an even lower G, and that's pretty much how I use those. And like I layer them and I play the higher one by itself and then the low ones. Actually, let me go over here. So that's a very cool sound. And over here I started my I just pretty much went from between the range of 254 to 6.7 hertz, and that's pretty much only this area. Sorry if I mix up low pass and high pass. I know what they are, but when I'm doing these videos I can't really always think straight, so I apologize if I mess those up and whatever. So now for our multi-band dynamics, I just added one of these. It's always good to add one of these onto these percussive sounds, because without it, actually let me turn off everything else. So that's probably what you have right now without the if you added EQ by this point, and that's very boring. So with a little bit of multi-band dynamics, you just boost these little ranges individually, and I'm just doing like a 2 or 3 dB boost right here on the highs, and like around 6 dB up here, and none on the low. Oh, I do a little bit on the low. So it kind of just pops it out of the speakers a little bit. And then I added some Camel Crush. And these are the settings I use. So tube right here, no compression, master, mix is kind of right around here. And like I said, I really love this Camel Crush. It really is a good distortion plugin, and it's free, so it's even better. And for the reverb, I started using that around this frequency. So low cut is right around here, 300. High cut is at 6.21. The diffusion network is left alone. Size is at 122. Pre-delay is all the way down. Decay time is at almost 4 seconds. And dry wet is at 56%. So that's that. And the auto filter, I just copied it from this channel so that it does the same thing when that snare, when that little big room snare thing plays. And I prefer to go to do a low pass as opposed to a high pass, because, well, I'm trying to clean up the low frequencies, so that's why I do that. And that's pretty much all battery. And I just grouped all of that together, and I just gave it a nice bus compression right here. So just releases on auto, a quick attack, ratio of 4, low threshold around 11 dB. So I'm just getting like a 4 dB kind of gain reduction, and put some makeup gain around there. And I like to do this also, where I take my groups like this. So I'll group everything like drums all together, synths all together, soft synths, pads, strings, drop sounds, bass sounds. I group all of those, and then I make a send for it. So to make sends, you hold Option, Command, and T, and you make sends like that. And what I do is I go to my audio 2, so this is like your IO, and I go to sends only. So if I turn off the send where I'm sending all my drums to, it's not gonna play. So I have to have this send on so it's pretty much like my parallel bus, but not really, because that's where all my signals go to. So at the end of the day, I can bounce stems just from these groups, and that gives me the chance to compress it again. So I can compress on each of these channels. Well, I haven't done that yet, and then I can compress it as a group and then compress it again in my main bus to where the signal's playing to the master. So from here it goes to the master, and that way I can serial compress things and get them louder that way, as opposed to hard compression or limiting, because you know, this is a good way to get your stuff louder by compressing a little bit, you know, 3 dB here of gain reduction, and then 4 dB on your groups, and then right here I think I lowered my ratio to like 3, but everything else is the same, so that, you know, everything's nice and loud. And that's kind of how I did it. So this is how I got this little big room type drop, I guess, if you will, and I made it all in battery 4. And there's still a lot to do. I mean, this is a very rough cut. I just started this today, and I was thinking of making this like a very long 3-part thing, but I'd just rather give you one long video. So I hope you like this, and I'll stop talking because I know this is a long video. So thanks guys for watching.